Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm Blaze, and today we're going to have a look at another Ultimate Hero Guide. This time it's going to be for Rey. I'll be coming out with another one next week for the new Dooku update, and that's going to be a Dooku Ultimate Guide, so make sure to subscribe if you want to get that as soon as it arrives. Now we're going to move on to Rey's 3 abilities in this video, then we're going to have a look at combos and strategies and start cards at the end, so make sure to stick around if you want to get all the info on her. You've got to try her. I know she's not the best sequel character, but in terms of what she can do on the battlefront, she is a beast. Just quickly before we start the video, I'm going to run off some stats for Rey so you can get a basic understanding of how she plays. So she's got 750 health. Her health regen margin is 250, which means she can regen up to 250 health at a time. Pretty standard for a lightsaber wielder. Her attacking and defensive stamina is very strong, coupled with her insight ability, which we'll get onto later. And her saber damage is 110, which is 10 more than the kind of average. But to the back, she deals 130 damage, so that's actually pretty powerful attacking damage as well. Her first ability is Dash Strike. It has a recharge time of 10 seconds. Hopefully all of you know what that is, because any Rey player you come across on the Battlefront will be spamming this thing as it is worth it. Rey charges forward at a speed faster than her regular running speed, and as soon as she hits an enemy, they take 130 damage and get knocked down. During their knocking down animation, you can actually slash them, and that will combo an easy kill on any regular infantry. Not much more to say here, apart from just use it to close the gaps. Other than that, it's just generally a great ability to use as often as you can with a very low recharge time of 10 seconds. So yeah, just spam the thing. Now on to Rey's second ability, or middle ability, which is Insight. Insight has a duration of 8 seconds, which can be upgraded, by the way. Get onto that in the star card section of the video later on. And during these 8 seconds, Rey has unlimited stamina, plus 2 damage to each of her swings, which means she deals 120 damage to the front, which is very powerful, and a whopping 140 damage to the back, which means you can melt villains. Couple that with the fact that you can dash strike into them and knock them over, you can actually combo it to 270 damage without them having time to react. But more on combos later. I know there's a lot later, but there's more, because Insight actually takes you off the radar. And this is what makes Rey such a beast in Galactic Assault. She turns into a ghost, just an assassin ghost. She can take out anyone she likes, and she deals extra damage from behind, which just results in pure carnage, and actually it makes it pretty easy for you, because you don't have to worry so much about other villains, because they won't take notice of where you are, because most of the time you'll be off the radar. In terms of when you want to use this, just use it as much as you like. Really, you can actually use it whilst you're blocking or whilst you're attacking to get that stamina, and even though the animation looks like you aren't blocking whilst you're blocking, you actually do. It's a bit weird, but it works, so just press that button whenever you need to. The animation doesn't actually harm you in any way. Rey's third and last ability is Mind Trick. Now, Mind Trick is a very solid ability. It is actually, I would argue, her worst, which is a bit weird. It's because Rey has an unbelievable set of abilities which are all fantastic in their own way. Mind Trick is great for disabling heroes, but just doesn't offer the utility of Insight or Dash Strike. I'm not here to compare her abilities, I'm here to explain them. So Mind Trick has obviously the special ability of inverting enemies' controls, which means basically they're not going to be very good at aiming. They're not really going to be able to move anywhere either, as they can't sprint anyway. So they're pretty much left defenseless. However, they can roll, and if they're a villain who has a lightsaber or someone like Bossk, they can jump, which makes it difficult to, dash strike into them. So I don't recommend using that combo. It has a duration of 5 seconds for them, which is actually pretty long. So couple that with the team attack, and you can just demolish the enemy team in Galactic Assault. So that's important to note. However, for 2 seconds of that duration, almost half, Rey is also immobile, and she can get shot in the face really easily, especially if they've already been targeting you. So if you've been deflecting and then you Mind Trick, even if they're inverted, they still have their crosshairs already on you, so all you have to do is press the trigger. So that's not such a great idea. I recommend using Mind Trick from a position where enemies can't immediately shoot you. As for the recharge time, is 20 seconds, which is a bit of a bummer in Heroes vs Villains, but in Galactic Assault it's not so much of a worry, as you won't be running into villains that often, and really the only enemies you should be mind tricking are villains. Now that we've covered all of Rey's abilities, we're going to move on to combos and strategies. Usually with most of my videos, these are 2 separate sections, but for reasons which will be explained later, I'm going to roll these 2 into 1. And so we're going to start off with just general strategy, which is you want to be playing as Rey as the ghost, the flanker, the person who picks people off around the battlefront and disrupts enemy from behind or from flanks. And this is what Rey's really good at doing, because she can just disappear off the radar with Insight, and that also means that she's able to then get behind enemies and use her mind trick without being noticed, dash into enemies from behind, catching them completely unaware, and she's an excellent assassin against villains as well, because when she's got inside up, she's got really good damage. And this is just what I think makes Rey the best hero in Galactic Assault, is the fact that she can just go anywhere she likes without having a care in the world, because 50% of the time she's off the radar, got unlimited stamina, and a huge damage boost, some of the best damage per second in the game. Just overall, very solid hero. And then the combos, basically, you want to be using, there aren't really combos, but it's just using Insight and then using your other abilities with them, which is why I've rolled them into one, because you can't really have a combo section on its own. It's just not very much to talk about. It's just Insight plus Mind Tricks, they don't know where you are, Insight plus Dash Strikes, they don't know where you're coming from, and you can also obviously animation cancel with the Dash Strike midway through, just by hitting the trigger button to slash them, or dash out of it if you want to make a quick escape. For the last combo related point, it's kind of don't use this combo as opposed to do, and it's Dash Strike plus Mind Trick, or Mind Trick plus Dash Strike in the correct order, because once you Mind Trick someone, they're likely to roll randomly, and Dash Strike fixes you in a set direction, so you won't be able to react to their rolling, and that just kind of sucks for you, because you've wasted an ability, and you're probably not going to end up killing them before that 5-second duration of Mind Trick is over, at which point they'll have no problem rolling and shooting you, unless you obviously are alone with them and can deal with them. Just last thing for strategy, in Heroes vs Villains it's just reverse from Galactic Assault. Taking enemies on from head on just works better, because Insight doesn't offer you the cover that it does in Galactic Assault in terms of being off the radar, when you're the target, etc. And Rey can actually deal with villains head on, it's just that when she deals with a large group of enemies that she has difficulty. Now moving on to star cards, we're going to start with the Galactic Assault loadout that I think you should be using when you're playing as Rey, and it's going to be Survivor, Farsight, and Focused Sight. Survivor is a health on kill card, so that's pretty much self-explanatory, no-brainer in my opinion. So is Focus Sight, as increasing the duration of Insight, which is Rey's most powerful ability by far, if not the most powerful ability in the game. No joke, this thing is amazing. Having those 7 extra seconds makes a huge difference in Galactic Assault, because that means that 75% of the time you'll be off the radar, be able to see all enemies, have unlimited stamina, and extra damage on your saber swings is just plain ridiculous. It's a must-use card in Galactic Assault. Then for Farsight, it's really useful to just see your enemies at a larger range. I find it works really well, otherwise I get into things which I really don't want to be in, and that doesn't work so well because it usually results in my death. However, Damaging Strike also works as a good star card if you're the kind of person who wants to go for Rey multi-kills down tight corridors like those infamous corridors on Naboo. However, me being the kind of guy who's going to stick to the strategy and always flank around, I don't find that so helpful myself. Now for Heroes vs Villains, I recommend keeping Focus Sight, as having that unlimited stamina for 7 extra seconds is a big game changer, but instead of Survivor, I recommend using Deep Mind. Now what this does is that at epic level, you'll have 30% added duration on Mind Trick, which is really helpful for immobilizing villains. The third card for Heroes vs Villains is a bit of a tough choice, as most of the options are actually pretty bad, so I recommend just sticking with Farsight, as not only does it mean there is only one card for you to upgrade, but it's also pretty good for spotting those villains at a longer distance. Okay guys, I think that's going to round off that video. I hope you enjoyed, leave a like if you did, subscribe for more content like this, and a Dooku guide next week. And of course, don't forget to leave your feedback in the comments section below. Bye.